Bhadran karnevi srinuyam devaha Bhadran pashe makshavirjajatraha Sthirairangai stuštubhagum shastanu mihi Vyashema devahitam yadayuhu Swasti na indro viddhasravaha Swasti na pusha vishwavedaha Swasti no starksho arishtunemi Swasti no brihaspatir dadatu Om Shanti 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 Om. O gods, may we hear what is auspicious with our ears. O ye who are worthy of worship, may we see with our eyes what is auspicious. With strong bodies and limbs, may we spend the rest of this life in adoring and pleasing the Lord. May all the gods bestow peace and joy upon us. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto us all. So today we will be thinking about pursuing that happiness question from a different perspective. Perspective is the same. How we are searching for the real peace, eternal happiness, but not knowing where to go, we go through some track which ultimately leads us to the right direction of happiness. Last time we talked about from the doctor's perspective and psychiatrist's perspective that pleasure is achievable by successful behavior, effort in the material plane. But happiness is not. It is interpersonal connection with the divine. And it is always limited is pleasure, happiness is infinite. So that type of discussion. Today we will focus our attention more to Shankara's idea, and also Shanti Gita is one which is not very much we talk about and we didn't read much, but to follow that idea of Bhagavan Krishna's advice to Arjuna in another context when he lost his son Abhimanyu. The advice, he was also drowned into deep depression and also much bereavement, natural. One son, bright, brilliant. We'll talk about that. So what then Sri Krishna told him is a Gita, that's also called Bhagavad Gita. There are many Gitas, we know, Uddhava Gita, Shanti Gita, then Bhagavad Gita, then many other names are also available there. But we have, these teachings will be almost the same, but still it is always nice to know from different perspective, different way how Sri Krishna speaks. What is the light is gone? This light. So, one time Dalai Lama was asked about happiness and pleasure. So in his own words, sometimes people confuse happiness with pleasure. It is Dalai Lama saying. For example, not long ago, I was speaking to an Indian audience at Rajpur. He continues, I mentioned that the purpose of life was happiness. One of the audience said that Rajneesh teaches that our happiest moments comes during sexual activity. He wanted to know what I thought of that idea. Then Dalai Lama said, I answered that from my point of view. He said that Dalai Lama says, I answered that from my point of view. The highest happiness is when one reaches the stage of liberation, at which there is no more suffering. That is genuine, lasting happiness. True happiness relates more to the mind and heart. He continues, happiness that depends mainly on physical pleasure is unstable. One day it is there, the next day may not be. So this was the clear-cut direction of Dalai Lama, standing from the perspective of Buddhism, that it is called sarva dukkha attantik nivritti, to get out of all types of sufferings totally. And that freedom, don't talk of what is positive, but here Dalai Lama is speaking about what is called liberation, and liberation is equal to happiness. So this is the Hindu view also, that the purpose of life was happiness, in the sense if you think that it is the absolute joy. And though people may subscribe the idea that in the material world sensuality is the highest pitch of joy, but it is not lingering. That is clear. This liberation or this freedom, that is the genuine and lasting happiness. This question is that what is lasting? And true happiness relates more to the mind and heart, not to the physical body, but it goes beyond mind, of course. So happiness that depends mainly on the physical pleasure, naturally it should be unstable, and one day it will be there, next day it will not be there. So this was the idea about happiness given by Dalai Lama. So from eternal, as we see, from time immemorial, everyone is searching for more happiness, happy and happier and happier. So we are making two terminology, pleasure and happy. That's why it is total clear distinction. Happy is equating with permanent, a joy, absolute joy. So from time eternal, immemorial, we find everyone is searching for happiness or abiding peace through all the activities of life, through all the efforts, through our all achievements and struggles in life. Shankaracharya, at the very outset, have given us a clear concept that it is that from eternal human personality or even in animal world, two tendencies are given. One is called pravitti, which is path of going through the enjoyments of life. These are not bad. Those experiences can only help someone to go beyond that. That is not satisfying. That's why Vedanta does not denounce anything. But it says the ultimate path of happiness should be always the path of detachment. And that will give the freedom, and that is the highest benefit of a human personality, to get out of the bondage. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is very oft-quoted introduction of the Bhagavad Gita. And there it is, Shankaracharya said, that from the very beginning of time, a God created this universe. And when He created, He prepared to stabilize this continuation of the creation. He created two definite paths. One is called pravitti, going through the experience of life, seeking pleasure and finding pleasure, and then does not know where to get, hitting on all the nooks and corners. and being tired and frustrated, then he tries to find the path of Shreya. That's why Shankara has used the word, the pravitti, the path of experiencing through the senses, what the world can give, what this objective universe can give to the person who is deluded that I am the only body, and whatever is the joy, I will have to get through this physical body only, through these senses only. So that is the path. That's the immediate path, which is easy and tangible and obtainable easily. But when people try again and again, but it does not work, then people search for where else, knocking all the corners. So Shankaracharya said in the very introduction of the Bhagavad Gita, very oft-quoted verses, Sabhagavan, that God, Lord of the universe, Srishtva idam jagat, out of his fun, he created this world. And he thought that, wow, then what will happen with these created beings? He thought, Srishtva idam jagat, tasya cha sthiti chikirsu, thinking how it will be stabilized, how the world will continue. If there is no temptation, how the world will continue? Suppose he has created everyone, and from the birth everyone is pure and no attraction for anything, all meditating in the Atman. Then there is no meaning of creation. All the creation, you look at the movie world, the acting world, this is all creative, no? That it is all creation is because of fun. Why it is created is for fun. But how to continue it if there is no drama in it? If there is no duality in it, if there is no fun in it, if there is no anxiety in it, if there is no tension in it. There's new perspective of thinking. So, if you create something, suppose a novel, someone is writing a playwright, nice novel, and his writing starts with that all the actors and actresses are sitting with perfectly their pure soul. They don't have any hatred, they don't have any jealousy, they don't have any anger, and they don't crave for money, they don't want for this and that. Then how the fun will go on? Who will go to watch that movie or that acting? And there is no one to witness, and there is no fun in it. So in the duality, Srishtva, the very fundamental point is that when God creating this universe first as they say, Srishtva, creating this Jagat, this movable, changeable universe, Jagat means which Gam Dhatu, which is moving all the time and changing. No second moment, anything in the world is the same. We cannot find any object in the universe, though we say, oh, the sun is the same. Sun is not same. Yesterday and today's sun is not the same, because it has so much emission of energy has been given in another direction. We are not the same person. So everything. So it is said, now how to continue? So he created Marichadin Agre Sishtva Prajapatin. He created the Marichi and others, and then Prajapati, the Brahma, etc. And then Pravitti Lakshanang Dharmang Prahayama Suveduktam. Then he taught Prajapati and others the dharma, the path of going in the path of this world, of the sensate universe. To have this experience, have this fun, joy, go. Try. No? And then that path, according to the path of the Vedic wisdom, means eternal. Vedas are not books, one thing. Veda, Veduktam, it has been mentioned, don't mean, no you have to think that this is a book written by somebody somewhere. Veda means the wisdom, the knowledge. And in the knowledge, that is eternal knowledge. It is in the heart with the Creator itself. So he created this Marichi, etc., and Brahma, etc., and in their mind they gave this idea, that wisdom. So, Pravitti Lakshanam Dharmam Prahayamas. So, he taught them the path to go through the experience of life. This is called the Preya, another language, Preya, or pleasure, the path of pleasure. And then, tato, and he also thought, if I only give this path, they will be going into darkness, hitting here and there and not knowing where to go ultimately. So he was kind. So he said, then tato anyangscha. Then he created others. And who are they? Sanaka, Sanandanadin, Utpadya. He created Sanak, Sanatan, Sanandan, Sanat Kumara, all these eternally free souls. Those who are from the birth, they are pure. And they have nothing, that no touch of world and worldliness. So Utpadya, creating them, and taught them Nivritti Lakshanam Dharmam. He taught them the path of release, path of happiness, where to go. And what is that? Jnana Vairagya Lakshanam. That is the path of wisdom. This is the path of delusion. This is the path of wisdom. So Grahayamasa taught them that Nivritti Lakshanam Dharmam, that type of righteous living, which will be based on knowledge. Most of the people in the world, as we are, 99% people, we are deluded. That's why we are in ignorance. But these are the people, he taught them this Sanaka, Sanandan, Sanat Kumara, and this is called the Rishi Kumaras, created by Brahma himself. They are so pure that they have no touch of the world. They know what is wisdom, what is the path of happiness, eternal happiness. And that's why renunciation, this discernment is very spontaneous characteristic. They are born with that. That's why jnana, vairagya. Jnana means knowledge, vairagya means renunciation, detachment, lakshanam, grahayamaso. And dividho hi vedakta dharma. And this is the two types of dharma, righteous living. These are both living, righteous living. But this dharma is from the Vedic time. One is called pravritti, in the path of pleasure, and another is the path of liberation. Why? For jagat sthiti karanam, for the continuation of this world. Let it continue, the flow continues. Look at that. How many people are born in time past? Millions and millions. And so many people are mean, unkind, and killing, butchering, jealous, and all these things. At the same time, how many people following the path of knowledge and renunciation freed themselves from all bondage in every religion. That's a continuation is going on. So he created why? Na praninam sakshat abhudayo nisyasya hetu. One, for the abhudaya means material prosperity, name, fame, power, position, beauty, all these things what the world can give. And nisyasya means path of liberation, dedication, sacrifice, and doing good to others, and all thinking of God, purity of the heart, all these things. And then he taught this. And again, this Bhagavan, who is the source of all knowledge, wisdom, power, energy, and strength. See, he himself, being the Lord of the universe, again comes down in the form of Krishna, in the form of Rama, and for there are no use of them, but to show this continuation of this path of happiness to continue. So this was in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita introduction, where he mentions. We find that this verse we have referred last time the verse of the Katha Upanishad. The two paths are there, Shreya and Preya. And this is the two paths, people follow that, and by one, it appears in everyone's life. It has said, the Shreya, what is ultimate good, what is momentary happiness, both approach everyone's life, comes in life of everyone. But the wise people can give up the temporary and run for what is permanent and eternal. But most of the people get deluded in the path. That's why Jama was enticing Nachiketa all the time with this type of what you call the sensate experiences to go through. You will get good kingdom, you will be a king, you will be living for hundreds of years, and this and that. You will get good dancing and singing girls in the heaven and this and that. But he said, no, no, sir, I don't care for all this. See, yeah, I have seen, because he has this samskara, no? Not to glorify anyone. In spiritual life, not to glorify anyone. Sinner has a future, and saint has a past. He has gone through this experience. In this life, you don't see him. But you have gone through all the knocked his head here and there, and then ultimately got some direction. So, these two approaches. Then Sankara there also says there are two paths. The Kathopanishad says, the good and the pleasant. Here is pravritti and nivritti. One is the path of what you call pleasure, another is happiness. Here, the pleasant and good. These are the two paths. And different indeed are their purpose. Why? This pleasant will take us to one direction, and this good, or which is called real, that will take us to their liberation. So it says, different indeed are their purpose, but both of them bind us. Sreyo and Preyo, both bind us. We have to go beyond both. Of these two, it is well for one who seeks and who takes hold of the good, but one who chooses the pleasant loses the very object of human life. What is the human life? Human life is for liberation, freedom. The main purpose is that we have not come here to cry and weep and go to depression and suffering and pain and pleasure and say, oh, my life is miserable. I am not born for that. None of us. It is to enjoy freedom, total freedom, freedom of peace, satisfaction, infinite connection with the divine inside. No, that is the purpose, to realize that. So here, that the Upanishad says that is the purpose. But when these two offer comes before us, when you took the path of pleasant, it is immediately joyful. Who does not like if you get a good ice cream now? It tastes good immediately. But you don't know your cholesterol, don't touch them. That's a question of renunciation comes. But which is good, which is pleasant? In our small examples like that, in our life, all these choices come. And when this choice comes, so immediately we go for what is immediate. It is natural. That is the way God has created, as we learn from the Bhagavad Gita introduction. It is not our fault. We can say it is not our fault. What can I do? God has created this way. My tendencies has been created by Him. And God has given the food. He has presented before my eyes. He has created the eyes. He has given the object. So I go. What can I do? Yeah, that is true. But if we understand then it is not our responsibility. Duryodhana said, Janami dharmam nachame pravitti, janami adharmam nachame nivitti. I know what is righteousness. I know what is good. But I am not inclined in it. And I know what is bad. But I cannot renounce. I cannot renounce that. So this is the way. What can I do? You, Lord Krishna, you are responsible because you have created us, no? You have created my mind. So it is you responsible. That is true. If one can surrender their ego totally, then it is true. But for all good things I do and bad things Krishna did, that does not work. In our life, sometimes we put that blame. What can I say? Lord, you did all these things at that point of difficulty. But everything coming from Him, so you are free. So here it says, Sankara in commentary says, every being is motivated by the drive to be free from suffering. Everyone is born that way. And achieve abiding happiness, sukha. As humans, we do this through pursuit of one of the two, prayers, or to the path of shreyas, or the electable. Delectable or electable. The path of pleasure and fulfillment of desires, that is called the delectable, or prayer, or happiness, pleasure, and to the path of shreya, which is higher, is electable. which is the pursuit of liberation from samsara. One is going to the samsara, another is finding out of samsara. One either hankers after prosperity, power and pleasure to avoid the material causes of suffering, or craves freedom from the root cause of suffering, ignorance, to the emancipation, moksha. Therefore, everyone is said to be bound by these two, in that they cling avidly to one or the other. But both of these paths are opposed to each other inasmuch as path. If you follow one follows the path of pleasure, it is opposed to the path of following the path of what is called the happiness. So pleasure, inasmuch as the path of pleasure is based on spiritual ignorance, that is the point. The path of pleasure is always deluded. It's always in a thing of ignorance. In ignorance it happens, avidya, and perpetuates one's suffering and continued existence in the samsara. This is the, if we select pleasurable, immediately it may be good, but it ultimately it is coming because of ignorance, avidya, and it perpetuates one's suffering and continued existence of samsara. And the path of good, or what is called happiness, arises from the wisdom, vidya, and is conducive to one's ultimate liberation from samsara. Everyone eventually must make the choice of the two, to pursue one or of the other. So when this selection is done, then you are in the right track to move. But at the end of the track, there will be neither good, neither bad. Because everything will be Brahman. Everything will be the one. So that is the ultimate look. So that is the, Sankara says. But everyone, the question comes, everyone has the free will to choose. But since most people do not have the ability to discriminate with regard to their means, with regard to their results, therefore they make wrong choices. Question comes, why we do make, if the both can be available, why we do a wrong choice? Because we are not knowledgeable people and our mind is not ready to accept the truth. That's why we do these mistakes. Now these are we hear about this type of discussion all the time. Now I will go to see what this Shanti Gita talks about. Shanti Gita says that there are actually this Gita started this way. You know that when Sri Krishna was this charioteer and this war started, and that is the time Bhagavad Gita, which is popularly we read every day, most of us know Bhagavad Gita. And here the speaker is Krishna and the student is Arjuna. And Arjuna was also a despondent there. He was in deep depression, seeing the army of warriors, how to fight, etc. And then whole Gita came and he said, I understood. Now, but life is not so easy. When you go for a war is war. It is ruthless. Killing is the point. Who can kill whom? So, Arjuna has his one son. Arjuna was married to the brother, a sister of Krishna. And so they had a child, and that name was Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu was a young boy, and when he was in the womb of the mother, Abhimanyu baby in the womb of mother, then Arjuna, Subhadra was asking, okay, how one enters into the war security area, it's called chakra, circle. You enter into a circle which is protected and no one can, a cheap army person is sitting there, you are armed, protected by the other army, so that no one can enter there, invincible. But there is a way to enter, Arjuna used to know that. So Subhadra, his wife, said, when the baby was in her womb, Acha, how one enters into that invincible chakra? Then Arjuna started talking about that. And the baby learned up to this how to enter into the invincible, but you can enter there. There are trick how to do that. And by that time, when that much was said, Arjuna continued how to come out also. But that time mother, Subhadra, she fell asleep. And when she fell asleep, Abhimanyu learned how to enter into the chakra, buha, but didn't learn how to come out of the chakra. Now when the war started, what happened is a big war. And one day, the Duryodhana's warrior group, great warriors, all decided, today we'll kill one of the biggest army power of the Arjuna's group. So who? They targeted this Abhimanyu. This boy was so small, but he was so powerful, learned so much of fighting skills that, so they targeted him. Today, if they can kill this boy, then Arjuna will be down, and that opportunity they will take to defeat them. That was their odds. So 7 big warriors who were invincible almost, they targeted this boy, and he entered into the buha, into that circle, and fought with all of them. They were all devastated by the one warrior, Abhimanyu, such a powerful. But ultimately, he didn't know how to come out of that circle of warrior circle, and he was killed. And then Arjuna, only son, that son is so, not only, I do not know who else, but this Abhimanyu is such a bright and such a powerful, he can fight with the 7 big warriors like Karna, Kripa and all these big names in the... So Arjuna got naturally totally lost. And that time he was so depressed and despondent, then Krishna came and taught him this Gita, this message. It is called the Shanti Gita. The question started by where is that? Krishna started that question that this started this way, that Yuddhe, in the war, Binihate Putre, when the son is being killed, Soka Vibhalam Arjunam, the Arjuna, who is totally lost into the grief, and he was losing all interest for fighting again next day. Drishtva tang bodhayamaso Bhagavan Madhusudana. Then Krishna, then again, tried to teach him the language of highest wisdom. Sri Bhagavan then uvacho, King Sochasi Sakhe Partha, the same way as we find in the Bhagavad Gita. It is almost the same type of conversation as it were. Oh my friend, why are you so much despondent? Why are you so much grief-stricken? Bismitosi puroditam. You forgot what I taught you beforehand? Mudha pray like a fool, vimukta being deluded. You are deep, you are swimming in the, plunging yourself into the ocean of despondency and bereavement. No? Maike satyavad jnanam. This despondency, this delusion has come to you because Soka mahasya karanam. You are despondent, you are grieving because of what? Deluded. Because maike satyavat jnanam. What is maya? What is temporary? What is moving? What is changeable? What is bound to die one day or other? You are taking that should be there. We all think in our life. My friend will live forever. My mom will stay with me all over. My dad will be there. I will be living here. This is the attachment to my body and me and mine. Ahamidam, mamaidam. Me and mine is the whole world. And if one is free from me and mine, no one can bind him. That's why Brahma Gyanis people, they see that me is everywhere. So he does not care for death of few people, because many people are born. That's the point. Ramakrishna, when he went to Mother Kali, and with the insistence of Naren to pray and get your throat cancer cured for us, he said, no, I cannot do that. But no, you will have to go for our purpose. So being persuaded by Naren, when Ramakrishna went to Mother Kali, and when he said, Ma, please do something so that this body can be sustained and can go something through it. And then he came back and scolded Naren and said, you rascal, you send me to mother? Huh? And what mother said? Are you not eating through so many mouths? You have to eat through this mouth only? See, a Brahma Jnani par excellence, this is a demonstration to see. A Brahma Jnani feels, I am in thousands, I am enjoying 1,000 people, I am enjoying the feast, greatest, most costly dinner, in thousands and thousands of mouths, and I am fasting in another thousands. What it matters? It's me. So that type of universalism comes there. So, but we are all Maike Sattvavat Jnanam. Oh Arjuna, you are making it Satya, means truth. Jnanam, it is true knowledge. What is true knowledge? Maike, which is changing, which is potentially not there continuously. You are taking that to be perfect, and you are thinking they are right and they are eternal. Maike Sattvaga. And that is the reason for your Shoko and Maha. Birth is happening every day. How many warriors are being killed every day in the war, big war, no? It is said that after this war, India was almost clean from all male folks. Young to old, all were in the war. Whole India divided into two groups. So every day, so many people are dying. Why you are so much affected by this? Because you have your moha, delusion has come. And because moha is there, there is some this type of bereavement and pain and suffering you have to go through it. Tang buddhosi chadhirosi shokang tektva sukhi bhavo. Therefore, he is boasting. Tang buddhosi, you are a man of intelligence. Chadhirosi, you can understand things in right perspective. Shokang tektva, giving up this, throwing away this bereavement. Sukhi bhavo, be happy. Because the body has gone, then he will tell all this. Sangsare, maike, ghore, sattva bhavena mohita. In this world of changes, in the maya, by maya, in the impact of maya, thinking that everything is real, being deluded by that. Mamata abadho chitto, see, your mind has been attached to mindness. Me, I am mine, my son. And deho, why it has come? Because first of all, you are thinking you are the body. I am the body first, then comes my, is it not? So deho mamata baddha chittos. So your heart is confused, your mind is confused, your understanding is confused, your ego sense is confused, your memory is confused. So chitta means in four aspects. Mano, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. Mind is confused. It is showing something wrong. Buddhi, your understanding has convinced that this is my loss, this is my son. And then your memory, your ego, mano, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. Four. Every aspect you are deluded. And that is the cause of your suffering. Therefore, don't be deluded in this way. Then he says, Kova sit evam kathang yato kashuto kakalaktakam. Kova atsi, Katham jata, where were you? Who is born? Who is your son? Who is his family members? Snehobaddhosi kshanamatrang vicharaya. Think for a moment. Think for a moment. Where were you? Who were you? What is the connection? When did connection started? And when you started crying and weeping? Ajnana prabhavam sarvam. It is all the impact of ajnana, ignorance. Jiva maya vasangata. All these jivas created being, all under the spell of this maya. And how? Spell of maya is deho vimana yogena. He has given the body identity, I, this body, and nana dukkhadi bhunjate. Many types of miseries and pain and suffering. One have to go through these experiences. Manakkalpita sangsarang. This world is just imagination, fantasy of your mind. Satyam matva mishatmakam. It is satyavat ba mishatmakam. It appears to be truth, and it is all false. Dukkham sukham chamannante. You think it is sukha when it appeals to your mind. And you see dukkha when mind says it does not find identity in your mind. Your mind repels, you think it is bad. Your mind accepts, you think that is the same thing, maybe liked by one person, disliked by the other person. How it happens? It is the mind, each one's mind is working. Mamata pasa sangbadha samsare brahma prattaye anadikalata jivo sattva buddhyabhim. It is going on for time immemorial. Anadikalo. From when we started our journey, we do not know. It is going on. And thinking this apparent body, mind and my ego, these are true sattva, and we are being deluded, and that is the Brahma, my mistake, and because of that I and mindness, this my suffering is continuing. Dishna dishyate ballabhava dehasya jauvanadaya. When you are a baby, we don't see your babyhood now. Where is our babyhood? We are all one-time baby, is it not? He says, na dishyate ballabhava. When dehasya jauvana udaya, when your body comes into adulthood. No? Avasthantara samprapto deho parinamet ataha. Therefore, another change comes in the body and deho gets into another destination. Na pasyanti balavabam dehasya jauvana agame shutasya janakastena na sochati narodati. Acha, if the child was so daring and endearing to you when he was born, the baby does not want to, cannot speak and everything. But when he attains adulthood, mom and dad does not start sitting and crying, oh my God, where my child is gone, he is dead, and no one cries that. So, sutasya janakastena, when the baby is that, moves into that youthhood. So the child, for the losing the child or baby, no janaka, father, they don't repent, they don't feel bereaved. Tatha dehantara prapti. Similarly, this body has taken another form. And sokam, sakhe, johi. Therefore, give up your all your identification. Susupti kale nahi drisyamanam. When you go to deep sleep, you don't see this visible universe. Manasthitam sarvamanta visham. Sarvam, all everything is in your mind. When you go to sleep, it remains dormant there. Samuttite tan manasi. Again, when you wake up, tan manasi prabhati. When the morning comes, characharang vishwam appears. Well, is it satya? Is it true? No satyam. It is not true. But this is maya bijimhati tasmin. It is like a impact of maya, like sakphani evo uttitam, like you see the phony, the snake in the shrak, means a mala, garland. You mistake a garland or in a rope as snake. So it is similarly like that. Najayate mriyate va. It's like Gita. It is not being born, it does not die. Na dajyate, no shoshate. It does not die, It does not be, it cannot be burnt. Adhikaro sada asanga. It is always untouched by anything. Nitya mukta. It is ever free. It is niranjana, free from all blemishes. Ittuktang te maya purvam. I have told all these things to you, Arjun, before fight, no? When you are in the despondent mood, not to fight. That time I told all these things. You already forgot all these things again. You said that time, yeah, I understand everything, as we all do. I am talking now, I think that is right, it should be reasonable, it is correct. But as soon as I stop and go out of the door, then you forget. That is the power of Maya. That is the power of so much our past impression, deep impression. We have taken that to be truth, and that is the truth. Shukra sunita yogeno dehoayang bhautika smrita. This is very beautifully, he has brought one analogy, which is very appealing, understandable. This body is born out of the mom and dad's connection, dehoayang jato bhautika, balle, and that germ takes the balle, when he's a baby, it takes the boyhood form. And then Jovane, when he's an adult or a teenager, it takes the teenager body. And then now you become young. Then you grihito annasya kanyang. You see another body is made in another's home by another parents, made of the material things of the world, cement and other things. You take that as your kanya, as a daughter, and you think he is my wife. Patni bhavena mohita. It's very realistic, but too much analytical, no? Because this is the dangerous time when Arjuna is so much and lost his son. And those who have understood what a loss is for a father to lose his best child, no, best son, such a warrior, such a person of power and strength, no? So naturally he's saying, looking that, how we get deluded. I am born, I was not in the physical body, that part I am not, because it has come from my parents. Similarly, another parents have another girl. And now you get relation and fall in love and have some few dating, and you think, ha, hoo, and then you feel like, I love you, and you love me. And then you feel, oh, we are married, we are together, we live all together till we go to heaven. Or after life. Hurry, what are you thinking? You are not together. You came in sudden life of your life, personal period of our time, and you fell in love with each other. You think you're all, it is happening in your mind only. And then you think that she is purajayana sambandha, where there is no relationship with that girl or that boy. Sesesa ardha angi sahadharmini. He is my half. Half is boy, half is girl, no? So mom and dad, they are half. So they think, we are half, we cannot separate out, we are all together. Sahadharmini. Tadarve, tadgarve retaso. And in their relationship, there comes a baby again. Jataha putrascha. And then they are born a boy or a girl, particularly. And you say, oh, my darling, my boy, my girl. And you day and night spend your identification there with all your force of love and affection. You say, my daughter, my son, snehabhajana. But that has come all from the 5 ingredients, what we are, eat, sleep, all these things created this body, all the semen and other thing. And then, deho malod bhavo putra, kitavat nirmala mala nirmita, pitaro mamata pasem, gale baddha abhimohote. When that baby embraces the father, ha, my son, I also embrace, no? It's little, this analysis is little drastic. but I think this is high dose medicine. Yes, strong medicine is given to Arjuna at that point to bring him out of his delusion. And if he really, it looks so ruthless and rough and crude way of saying, but think a little bit. If we think, At least we will live in the world, but this attachment will go away. We should love, but in which way we love, not the body. Because he is describing about how the body is born, and that body selects another body, and then through the connection of these two bodies, they got another body. And then you think all is in your mental level. You are not a wife of anybody, or you are not a husband of anybody. But you happen to come together and say, I am wife. And then we attach, and then anything comes. If it is divine relationship, it is seeing God, as Upanishad says, see the Atman in the wife, Atman in the husband. So that's a different direction. There people don't get deluded. He knows the body has gone. I refer it, that there was one Balsekar. He was Ramana Maharshi's in the line of thinking. His son died in the war, in Kargil war, when he was in the Indian army, and with the Pakistan fought, and then he was shot down to death. And losing that gentleman, Balsekar, said, yes, he was here, he is gone. His body is gone. And nothing to do with me. His father is saying, I have nothing to do, but I have done my all duties. I have given 100,000 to the military to take care of those types of warriors who are in any difficulty for their health or their protection or taking care. But it is nothing to do. I happen to be his father. Well, he was my son, that's all. A Vedanta student can really overcome this, facing the challenge, not heartless, brutal, but understanding what is happening. The Atman does not go anywhere. That is the main message here. Atman is only embedded into one body or the other body. And Atman in ignorance thinking, I am this Sarvadevananda, I am that, this is my duty, this is my I can do this, I have done, I love it, I hate it. All this nonsense is coming because of Ajnana. So this is the idea to be thought about. Therefore, Sarvang Pashyasi Sakshivat Tang Shokang Kathang Bado. So you see this way, then you become a witness and don't cry or weep. So this is the idea given by this Shanti Gita, and the same thing, the pleasure of here, how it connects with our topic. I think this is the topic, that we all want eternal peace, but we get attached. This is our delusion, and that delusion is always creating aham and mama, me and mine. And when me and mine comes into picture, and to satisfy me, I will always go for having this, having that. If I know I am this, so I will grab everything for my own pleasure. But when I see it is not me, it's a body, but I am in everywhere, that idea comes, that's the path of freedom. So, path of happiness is renunciation. Path of happiness is finer analysis or discernment, viveka, vairagya, sata sampatti, etc., all these, what has been mentioned in the scriptures, or loving the divine in a devotional path, whatever path may take, but every path have to renounce the body identity. And this body identity takes us to all types of enjoyment, anger, frustration, jealousy, hatred, whatever reactions we find, is all centered around this I. And I identifies with my son, therefore anything happens to my son, people try to make their family rich by putting his son's interest at the cost of genuine interest for others. So we all act, where is my I, where is my ego, I work there. Therefore, this ego, this identity of this little petty ego is the path of, and that leads us to the path of pleasure. And we have tried again and again to be happy in this world by pursuing this path of pleasure through all the senses, 5 senses, what it can bring. And making the mind more clouded and clouded and clouded in ignorance, we drown ourselves ultimately into shoka maha, this bereavement, this darkness, this ignorant state of mind. So that is the path to happiness, means where is eternal happiness? We know that has been given in the scriptures again and again. To follow that path is the path of happiness. Ultimately, when one follow the path of happiness, and the path end result of that happiness will lead one into that absolute joy, which is not happiness, not pleasure. These are language. We have to use the two language, but that is a state beyond language. So that's not, you cannot say it is happiness, you cannot say it is pleasure. It is that which is Satchidananda Rupo Aham, Nitya Buddha Svabhavavan. I am the nature of ever pure, ever stainless, and ever joyful state of being. Yes, thank you. Is there any question? After this music, we will have some question and then little announcement and then question for a few minutes. So first let me have the announcements. Next Sunday, these are correct? This is Achha. Next Sunday.
I haven't settled on my topic yet, that's it.
Okay, not yet settled, but what is written is Being and Becoming by Swami Mahajogananda next Sunday, but the topic may change. And then Tuesday, as usual, every Tuesday we have our class at 4:30 for Narada Bhakti Sutra and 7:30 in the Nectar of Supreme Knowledge. And Wednesday we have class at the Gospel at 7:30 and Thursday Bhagavad Gita, no? Kathopanishad.
Wednesday morning.
Wednesday, Akjon Buluk. Wednesday is
Wednesday morning, 10:30,
Wednesday morning, 10:30, Kathopanishad. Evening will be Gospel reading. And next day will be Bhagavad Gita at 7:30 in the evening, Thursday. And starting Friday classes, September 11, Living Wisdom of Swami Adbhutananda. Tomorrow is Labor Day retreat, so we already have announced. If you sign your name on the list, which part, of course you should have to have Gospel. Gospel is available online?
Not because page numbers.
A page number will not match, that's the point. So please, if you have the books, you can select the pages given there on your signing sheet, and then we like to read the whole Gospel tomorrow, starting at 10 o'clock, ending at 1 o'clock. And at the end, Swami Sattvayananda and myself will speak a few words around 1 o'clock. And we hope that we should finish the book and Gospel tomorrow. Okay. Now if any question?
A question came early from Mrinal about which book of Shankaracharya you are referencing. You are quoting from Shankara. Which book was that?
Shankara commentary. What is the book?
Bhashya on
Yeah, you go to the Gita Bhashya, introduction to Gita Bhashya. Gita Bhashya. And also when you read I mentioned something about the Upanishad, Katha Upanishad, there you see the Shankara commentary, that's all. Verse number 1, verse number 2. Very well.
Anders asks, the Bible says that the body of flesh will change at the last trumpet. Does Advaita have a similar teaching?
Body will last?
The body of flesh will change. Means it becomes permanent or something.
Permanent, yeah.
In the Bible.
Now in Vedanta, we think that as we have talked, body is always changing. So it will be always changing. It was one time, according to Hindu thought, it may be one a cat body, one a dog body, one a elephant body. We have passed all these bodies, and human body also is changing in this life itself. So we have no idea of body. We think it is beyond body, beyond mind. So the question of body will not remain. Yes, if you think so long you are not liberated into the total freedom, yes, we will have to take another body, that body is there, but not this body exactly. This body is not even yesterday's body, not today's body. So what's the question after death? So Vedanta does not, or Hinduism does not believe that that body is permanent, but the soul, the Atman is permanent, which is beyond body and mind.
Ruin asks, what is the difference between happiness and peace?
Here today's discussion, what we made, happiness is equated with peace. Happiness is equated with eternal blissfulness, unchanging state where this bereavement, pleasure, pain, love, all these things are not there. It's beyond, above.
Martha asks, is it appropriate to treasure the people we love, and even those who have died, as emanations of the divine?
Yeah, the soul is always, will think that who has come in the form of my relative or friend, that God has come. Because ultimately Vedanta is not negative. Vedanta is saying everything is permeated by that supreme consciousness and love, the Satchidananda. And it is only in a carrier is the physical body, as it were. And this carrier is also, I am seeing the carrier because my mind is creating that because of the ignorance. But to the eye of a spiritually enlightened person, he does see the form, but made of Satchidananda. That's why our Upanishads have given the example. The ornament made of gold, though they look all different, they are all gold and gold and gold. So I give the example, animal cookies. They look so different, but all are the same. So, same material, Satchidananda material, sometimes concretized in different... Yes, therefore we must respect those, not the flesh. Actually, we remember their qualities. Look at that, whenever someone we lived with, gone from our vision, we think of them means we think of their love, with their affection, or their character. Mostly we go to the mental level. Though physical level comes, physical image may come, but more of the spirit side, or the inner side, mental side comes. So, yes, we should respect them, we should love them, we should have but thinking that it is the same Lord in that form appeared before me to give his God's love as he came in my life as my father. He is no more maybe. She came in my mother. It is God who came in the form of mother. That's a different perspective, what we talked about. Here we talked about when we forget God and only see the physical body. Okay?
Urumki asks, I have a question, Swamiji. I had an experience of Satori, but I seem to lose it, but I gain it again. But I can't reach a state where I don't have to use any reference or pointing out and just be. Whenever I hear Kena Upanishad, it seems the most direct. It throws my mind immediately to no mind. But I have this dilemma that will that realization be without any intuitive reference?
You are talking about the ultimate experience? Yes, in the ultimate experience there is no reference. Because that is only one. To whom to refer? Always reference comes in duality. So when the mind suits into that consciousness, Kene Shitang Patati Manaha, that is the Kena Upanishad. It is Sattasya Srautram Manaso Manojat. It is the eye of the eye, ear of the ear, mind of the mind. That you go there, there is no comparison. There cannot be anything. That's why people have no comparison in Samadhi. But when one comes down again, there is, yes, you can, again we fall in the trap, or through the mind, we enter into the realm of the mind, and then duality starts functioning again. But that duality is a divine duality, that is not bondage. That's the point. Not the ignorant. Huh?
Anders asks, what is the difference between Advaita and Neo-Advaita?
I do not know. What is Neo-Advaita? That you have to define first. What is Neo-Advaita?
It's a term that is sometimes applied to modern teachers of Advaita Vedanta.
I do not know. If they preach the same truth, then it is the same. Vedanta, Advaita didn't change. Advaita says this world is non-dual, or Dvaita. Two, no. No, two. So, no two, whoever preaches, if he can express through his preaching, no two, that's why they say one without a second. No two, but Vedanta emphasizes, till you may think that there may be little difference. But no, it is only one. Then if you say one, then I'll say, hey, you are talking of one means you have the idea of two. They say, no, it is one and no two. That means in both ways, negation and position, in taking the positive and negative approach, saying that that is inexpressible reality, which mind cannot grasp. So even mind fails to reach that point. So there cannot be any duality there. And so there is no duality, so there is no perception, there is no conception, there is no understanding of anything. Okay, thank you all. And one thing, I was saying that there are 8, I have mentioned only just passing by, there are 8 emotions in Vedanta, in this scripture say, they are called Navarasa, 9 types of emotions, 9 types of enjoyment of the world, aesthetics, mood and expressions are there. So out of them, all the 8, they fall into the path of enjoyment, and one, the last one, the Shanti, the peace, that is very rare, that is the path of release. That's the path of happiness we are talking about. So these are all the rasas. What are the rasa? The Sringara ras, love, beauty, we feel joy in that. Laughter, we have some joy in that. When you have sorrow, we have some, not joy, but opposite of less joy, that is sorrow. Rudra, that is the anger, when you want, that's also another mood, another sentiment. Veera ras, heroism, courage, and then terror or fear type of mood comes in. So people have bivats or disgusting energy in you, and the most wonderful or wondrous expression when you get, these are the different moods which people go, and these happen in duality, and that is the path which takes us to the path of pleasure.
One more question.
Oh, one more, acha.
One more big question has come. Why does the mind obsess about what others think about ourselves? How to shift that perspective?
Why mind is?
So why do we get obsessed with what other people think about us?
No. Yeah, because we give value to the other. And other as a human being, not as a divine. So if other is talking, if he is a realized soul, then you should not be angry with him. But if other one is like an ignorant like me, so why do you pay attention to that fool? Respect from a distance and say, okay, you said your point, thank you, and I am here. But if you have to learn anything, we can learn. But really, because we are in duality again, we give emphasis. That is called, our life is like that. This is called Maya. We don't pay attention to the proper thing. We do emphasize on things which are unimportant. In our whole life, you will look at that. Most important thing is God. Tell me, how many people from morning till now, even we are spiritual people, we try to build up our spirituality. How many moments we think of God every moment? Emphasis should be there. We don't pay attention to that. Even God is everywhere, and if some friend may be done 100 good things for me. 100 times he smiled with me. One day he could not, or she could not. Bas, I get mad. How can that be? This is human nature, weakness. You don't look at the 100 good things, only one day, one smile or one, he was little rude or unkind or whatever. That's the point. So, to give our attention, we put wrong attention. Holy Mother used to see other way. Anyone does one thing good for anything or any good virtue, she will be overwhelmed with just the expression, what a grand lady is this, what a grand, she knows how to wind the clock. See, Mother's praise is in the high heaven. See, so, and you emphasize on the negative side. Why do you give your focus on negativity? Don't pay attention, it will be meaningless. We pay value to something that becomes valuable. So it is we have to train our mind that we have wrongly giving emphasis on wrong things. Let us turn our attention to the positive direction. Okay, thank you all. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.